Hey folks, it's Toronto Sportsman Show time.
March 13th to 16th, the Fishing Canada Show is celebrating its 40th year with contests, meet and greets, and Fishing Canada merch.
Come celebrate 40 years of our history. Plus, if you show up with a Fishing Canada story of your own, you might even make it onto an episode.
Fishing Canada fans are getting 15% off their admission price by purchasing with the link on our website.
Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to spend a weekend with the Fishing Canada guys at this year's Toronto Sportsman Show. This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio is brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. J&B Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. And Sail, the ultimate destination for your outdoor adventures. Howdy, folks! It is Sportsman Show time. Welcome to the program.
I don't like the way Dean gets all camera space over there, and we getting like he can hardly see us, and he's like,
Oh.
look at him.
The people don't see that.
Welcome to the program. I say Sportsman Show because this week, as you are viewing this podcast, I believe, and I stand to be corrected, I believe we are at Sportsman Show.
We are. We're currently there.
We're currently there right now as we speak. We are there.
How
We
does
just
that
opened.
work? How does that
We
work?
just
if we're doing
opened
this?
the show.
Yeah.
It's Thursday, and the show just opened.
So we're recording right there, right now. That's what
You
we're
could
doing,
say
right?
that. I mean, technically, it's
We're in two
freaky,
places
but
at once.
think about that.
Dude,
How bizarre is that? Somebody just waking up, getting out, get their breakfast. They got the podcast turned on, and they got their whatever Weetabix going.
It's easy
with
for you to say.
I don't even know what they're eating.
Weetabix.
Weetabix.
Is that stuff even around
And,
anymore? It's got to be.
I
Eh?
think so. I believe so.
What's your favorite cereal of all time?
All time.
And like sugar bombs included, because that's got to be one of the. I mean, as a kid, you have to friggin'.
Honestly, like, I know this sounds like very, for me, you would think something really bizarre or something, but I really like Cheerios.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
The original Cheerios, the OG.
The OG.
Wow.
I really like Cheerios.
See, I used to like them when they added sugar to them afterwards
Well, no,
or whatever. But that was I think I always.
Frosted Flakes are good too.
Oh, damn, they're good. But you know what I really liked? That it was kind of a weird one, but it was so good. Out of the box or in the bowl was Captain Crunch.
See, I
Remember
wasn't a
Captain
big,
Crunch?
yeah, I wasn't a big Crunch guy.
I friggin' loved that shit. It was so good. And Fruit Loops, of course, are like the bomb. of
Yeah,
the
it wasn't
bomb.
the
Really?
Yeah,
eh?
see, all that I didn't like anything.
The sugary ones?
Sugary, like
Wow,
uber
they
sweet.
were the best. I could eat a whole box of those Fruit Loops right now.
I probably could now too. Where was I?
Now I'm working amongst
Before
a bunch of
you-
Fruit Loops.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, Dean.
Where was I? I was going someplace really
So
cool.
about guys
I was,
eating oatmeal and oatmeal they were at home.
Yeah,
and, I'll get you back there. Don't you
there,
worry.
and he turns the podcast on, and there we are.
there
But
he
really,
is.
we're not.
Really, we're not.
We're not. We're there,
eating
but we're
Fruit
not
Loops.
because we're at the Toronto Sportsman Show
Get the hell
right
out
now
of
as we speak. And what are we doing there?
Picking strawberries.
Or two? It's going to be one of those episodes. Isn't it?
I got a feeling, eh?
Yeah. Sometimes
We
they
are-
work. Sometimes these episodes come together so easy, and then other times it's like as difficult as you could possibly. It's like Chinese algebra to us sometimes.
Is that difficult?
It
Chinese
was to
algebra?
me. I always thought math was.
You couldn't even spell that back in your day, let alone do it.
And this is going to be one of those episodes. Dean's already stretching his head, his neck. He's
Come on,
pain.
The
idiots,
people can't
let's
see
get
that
on.
either.
Volva's already. We've lost Volva early. Wow, early this time, eh?
Yeah,
Early this time.
I think he's got stuff in his hands, and he's got the computer.
Nick's
and
watching
he's
a
got
movie over there. He's already into
What
Netflix.
are you watching, Nick?
Netflix or
You
something.
get paid for this shit.
Yeah. He's watching a nice movie. There's no sense in.
And now you see, Nick is so spoiled
Yes.
that he's not even turning around to the audience listening. He's
No.
not even turning around to listen to the boss
No.
of the company, the owner of the company,
No.
but because he's his grandpa,
Yeah.
now he's turning around and he's giving him the evil eye, saying, quit interrupting my movie, you sons of bitches.
He's got it on pause.
Look
Look,
at him.
he's got it on pause. He paused
Oh, my
it.
God. Poor Canada.
Man, this is too much. I cannot believe I have to live through this shit.
Yes, sir.
But anyways, let's put on a nice show for the fellas, shall we, Peter?
What about the
Come
ladies?
on now.
And the ladies, too.
You can't say just the
and
fellas
the ladies,
nowadays.
too. So here we are at the Toronto Sportsman Show. I'd asked Mr. Bowman, what are we doing here? I was feeding him. That's called a lob ball in the business. You just tee one up for him so he can smack it out of the park. And, of course, he struck out on that as well. So I will pick up the heavy lifting as usual. We are here at the Toronto Sportsman Show celebrating our 40th season of broadcast, which is coming up.
Hell yeah. Look at that.
That's what we're doing.
Look at that.
But that's okay. You just relax. Let me just take over here.
Please do.
Sit back and relax.
I wasn't sure what we were doing here.
You're here just for your extreme good looks.
Kissing babies.
Remember that.
Shaking hands and kissing babies.
So here we are at the Toronto Sportsman Show, wanting folks to come down into our booth. We have 2 booths here, actually. We have the standard Fishing Canada booth.
Look at you.
Where we're doing our 40th anniversary.
You're trying
gig.
to own this puppy. You're trying to be Leo.
And then just keep it up. Keep it up. You and him are going to be on the unemployment line together pretty soon. And then we have another booth.
You can't fire Leo.
Then we have I don't need to. Then we have another booth. Another booth where we're doing little, I hate using the word work as it pertains to Mr. Bowman, but we have little workshops.
Come on now.
All about work, Mr. Bowman.
All about work. So tell us what you're going to be working on.
So the workshops is very unique in that, I'll tell you the whole deal to this. The Sportsman Show was very generous in giving us some extra space close to our main booth, which is what we're at right now. And they said we're going to put a little pond together, and we thought the size of the pond. All they said, guys, it's probably not the best thing to do. But let's think of it. So Ange and I got in the office there and clubbed it out over a couple beers and figured out, okay, let's figure what we can do. So we decided to do little workshops, just a little workshop area where there's some seats.
What happened to the pond? You were talking about pond. How do you get from pond to working?
Because I kept thinking I was going to be pissing in the pond all weekend. I wouldn't be going to the bathroom. I'd just go to the pond and take a piss. So
Gotcha.
I thought,
Come on now.
Not good to do that in public.
No.
You know what I mean? Hello, ladies, but
God forbid should you
can't
control
do that.
yourself.
So we got a nice little workshop area there where it's going to be very secluded. We can let more people in. It's going to be a very small.
Intimate.
It is. It's a small seated area.
Intimate.
We're going to have just people from the industry,
Yeah.
anybody and everybody. We're inviting anybody that wants to come in and do a 5, 10, 15-minute little workshop with the audience and all that kind of stuff.
Any of these guys going to be there?
Yes. So basically it's Fishing Canada's Ange and Pete's workshop. So Ange and Pete will be there for sure, and then hopefully we'll get Dean over there a little bit, Steve over there a little bit, Nick over there a little bit too to help out.
Maybe Nick can tell us about the Netflix movie that he's
Well,
watching
Nick's going to have his laptop there, so the
Right.
people that are bored with Ange and I can watch movies with Nick.
Exactly.
And that's a pretty damn good deal right there.
Perfect. That's a great deal. Who would want to be with Nick watching movies at work?
We got guys like, we got fishing guides, we got manufacturers. We're working on people all the time to get them there. And
Do we have any name? Do we know anybody yet that's going to be there for sure?
Yes.
Oh, can you share those with us?
I was talking with Jamie Pastilli yesterday. He wasn't sure if he was going to go to the show. Yeah. And Jamie is a Musky guide in Ottawa. He says he'd be glad to help us out with the different. I says, hey, if you got anything you can push that. Chris Hockley from Rapala fame, he's going to be doing all their plastics line.
Nice.
What are they called?
Crush City.
Crush City
line,
stuff.
Yeah.
Is it the Perfect Jig Guy, Dean?
Yep.
Perfect Jig Guy.
Oh, look at
going
you.
to be there like that. And there was one more right now that I'm
Who's the
thinking.
perfect jig guy?
I can't remember his name. I got it in here. I got it in my phone. And who else? There was one more. That comes off. Well, it doesn't. Whatever. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good regardless of
It's going to be good. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it flowing. And then it's going to be organically building as we speak. So
Organically,
by Sunday,
so it'll be moving.
By
It'll be
Sunday,
shifting.
we won't know any of our presenters.
Wow.
But they're just going to come up and say, hey, they're going to be lined up, right, to get in there.
Wow.
They're going to have to move the people out of the way to get in there. So
Okay, I like that.
yeah, and it's going to be.
And where does this take place?
In Port Hope.
Port Hope.
What the hell do you think?
I don't
Come
know.
on now.
Because I'm intrigued. Now I'm listening to
They're
this.
going to
Wonderful.
stop by right here at our booth where we're at, and then
Right.
they're going to say, hey,
Where-
where's that thing going on, guys? And we're going to go 32 feet that way.
Kitty corner kind
It's
of thing.
It's going to be east northeast of us,
Nice. I like it. I look forward to it.
or northeast.
And these workshops, are they going to be going? Is it like all day long? Or they how does that work?
It's
Does people
gonna
have
go
to,
as long as
they
people
have to
want
sign
them.
up? Do they have to pay for it? Is
No,
this a
well,
admission?
I'm going to take a
Is there
little side
admission?
cash on it, but
Okay.
but aside from that, and luckily the bills go only a $5 denomination is the lowest denomination, so a $5 for PD every now and then.
Just for a little, just for being
just like
PD.
that, yeah,
I like
You
that.
got to need some beer money for later on, right?
Exactly.
After a day like that, working with
Well,
you,
yeah.
I'm going to need a couple.
Of course. I have no idea where we're going, but that is what's happening.
That is.
Believe it
it's
or
gonna
not.
Be fun.
That's
It's going to be a lot of fun,
happen.
folks.
It's all
and you can buy a lot of swag at our main
Well,
booth,
I
too.
was going to say, let's not forget, the 40-year celebration comes with all of the wonderful, what do we call these? We call them swag, but what do we call these, Peter?
Sweaters.
Sweaters. Thank you. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate that, buddy. Sweaters. Did you come up with that? Like you had that written
He
down
wrote that
somewhere.
down.
He
I'm
had
a
that
marketer.
written down
He had it
somewhere.
written. He's been waiting a month and a half for that, just to wait that one moment for Ange to get him, to help him out.
Anyways, all these beauties will be there, along with the entire line, the Fishing Canada line, hats, coats, sweaters.
Plus-
do we have mitts too, Dean? Is there sweaters and
I've
mitts?
never seen mitts here.
No.
With
But
a
sweaters.
string to hold them on, like
Yeah,
string.
But there is a
like-
new line that no one has seen. So
I was going to
Oh,
say
there
the,
is
the
too.
40
There could
year
be
stuff,
mitts in
right?
there.
Oh, the catch your limit, but limit your catch?
That's right, yeah.
Wow.
Making a comeback.
That's all going to be there. But anyways, so that's going to be at
I
that,
love
at the
that
booth.
saying.
Yeah.
Catch your limit, but limit your catch.
Yep.
That
Yep.
is, and yeah, it's just timeless. It's timeless.
It's timeless.
It's
timeless.
too bad it wasn't timeless. Too bad it wasn't. Oh God, we all got it, and now we don't have to say it anymore. But we still have to say it
A lot.
now and a lot.
A lot,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all happening. Come on down to celebrate with us, because if you come down, we'll also be set up in one of the booths. We're going to be shooting special moments with you, the audience. We're going to in two different ways, actually. There's like a little confessional booth where you
Keep me away from that.
where
Holy
you
shit.
can go in, close the drapes behind you, and share with us your very personal, intimate moments with the Fishing Canada show, guys. I'm just dying to see what those are going to come
That's
on as.
interesting. Yeah.
And then for those of you a little more adventurous and open, we will be asking you to have a quick little sit-down interview with us to talk about your experiences.
Can they interview us?
They could.
They can ask questions too.
They can ask
I
questions
think that's a great
of us.
idea.
I
Yeah.
think it's
What the
wonderful.
heck? Yeah.
Whatever it is, we're going to roll, because some of it's going to make it to the 2026 40th anniversary Fishing Canada season on Global Television
So
Network.
them
Coast
are going
to
to be on
coast to
TV.
coast,
They're going to be on
damn it.
TV. These people will
TV.
actually be on our television
on the TV.
show.
They're going to be on the
Come on
TV.
now.
You better be lining up now, folks.
So all you have to do is show up at the booth. We'll be doing this, I believe, all week long. I don't have a schedule for it, but there will be a schedule at some point. And how you qualify, I have no idea.
I
at
know
this
the
point.
way we work. It ain't going to be scheduled.
No?
It ain't going to be. We're going to find the right person. They're going to come over. Hey, can we do it? It's going to be mayhem.
Just have
It'll
at
be
it.
mayhem. Workshops over there. The interviews over here. Confessions of a madman over here.
I want to go into confessional.
Oh my God!
want to be the
it'll
first.
Burn. It'll start in flaming as soon as you got in there.
Do you remember the one we had at the last call?
yeah, I remember.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it was
There's got
priceless.
some good moments in
I
there.
think when it was all said and done, if I'm not mistaken, I think less than 10% of it was usable.
Yeah.
In other words, less than 10% could be put on TV.
Well, we had it. Didn't we not have it set up right at the bar?
in the
campus
bar,
Yeah.
right in
so
the
that
what was the
tells
bar
you-
called? The Wall.
The Wall, right? Yes.
The Wall.
The Wall. So you had people. They're already starting to get liquored up, and then the more they drank, the more they wanted to go in there. It's like, holy shit! Here we go. That's why they're not
I
usable.
got one. I wish we had kept it. We may still have it. I don't know. Roland Martin did one. Do you remember it?
God, no.
Oh my God. It was the best. It was the best. Anyways, speaking of Roland Martin, for those of you who aren't aware, our parent company, Pine Post Productions, does the post-production for the Roland Martin show, has been for a number of years. So Pete and I, we kind of get a little chance to have a look at the program before it gets finished. And so we get a sneak preview of Roland's series. And I got to tell you, this one, episode 13, I believe, right?
With
him
Scott?
and his son, Scott.
It's good.
For a number of reasons. First of all, I think it's the best episode that I've seen
It is a good one.
Roland do in 100
It
years.
is a good one.
Scott was absolutely outstanding, but
Scott always is
that
outstanding on it,
outtake,
but that outtake
which
was-
I don't even know whether we could. Can we talk about it?
I can't see why not. It's not
So, all right,
Horrible.
the hell with it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
So Scott is very prim and proper and, always on top of his
Technically
game.
sound.
Technically
the whole
sound,
nine-
very
the whole 9 yards.
professional, very straightforward. And the camera is on him. He's sitting on the first step of the bow of the boat. And so the bow is behind him. And he's explaining the color or size, profile, something about the bait.
It was the bait pop.
Something about the bait he's
Stuff
using.
he's using there.
Yeah.
One of his,
And he's
one
very
of his sponsors' products.
Probably. I think it was.
I think it is.
And so he's very into it. Like he's in depth now, right? You could see he's totally into it, totally focused. He's explaining he's explaining the little, nuances about the bait and the color, the importance. And like, as an audience member, I was right in there with him, right? And then all of a sudden, behind him, these 2 feet come walking up onto the deck of the boat, and they just saunter on over to this corner of the camera.
Yeah, right where the picture a trolling motor.
Picture where the trolling motor would be. And he starts urinating over the side of the boat.
Not at the back of the boat where the cameraman is. Right behind Scotty.
And Scott is trying to keep a straight face, and then he couldn't help it anymore. And it's just the most hilarious scene. And Roland says something like, "Oh, were you shooting?"
Yeah.
Or something like that.
It's great.
Oh, it was the best.
It is so rolling. It is so rolly.
Too bad you can't include that in the show.
Oh my God, it'd be a great. I mean, an outtake a week or something like that.
Oh.
With Roland, you'd have
Oh.
gold every week.
Anyways.
By the way, I watched one of Roland's shows yesterday on the big screen because Ange and I, as we say it, we watch it here, but it's all on computers. You don't really get a good screen, and it looked really good because in the GoPro stuff, all his little cutaway stuff, and that looks really good. So Joe's doing an outstanding job on that one too.
Everybody here at Pine Post is doing an outstanding job.
Come on now.
Okay, but I just want to give
Everybody.
Joe some props because nobody ever talks about Joe.
Well, Joe, he's that kind of guy. He's very secretive. He's not.
It doesn't mean he doesn't like a little compliment every now and then.
You go right ahead, buddy.
I just did.
You go right ahead.
Thank you.
Where were we? Are you done? Are you done throwing compliments around and all? You finished?
Volvo's looking very handsome today.
He
Come
is,
on now.
but he's always a handsome package, right?
Sometimes he's a little grumpy, but that's and it shows in his his eyebrows and stuff. He gets kind of mean look, but no, other than that, he's
Kind of like a, now that I look at it, he could be a Klingon, eh?
sorry, Volvo.
If you
Buddy,
really,
I
He could
compliment you and look what happens
he
here.
could be a Klingon if you accentuate a little bit more that ridge. Sounds like a Klingon. He talks like a Klingon.
No, he does not.
He does. I think when we get off when we're done here, I'll show you. I'll put Klingon on for you.
What
Fishing
was that joke? The punchline is circling Uranus, searching for Klingons, but I can't remember what the freaking joke was.
Oh my God! I can't. Don't make me laugh. Anyway, moving on here before I pass out from pain, not from anything else. By the way, I've got a rib issue right now.
Yes.
that I'm trying to take care of. Fishing Canada, the store, Dean. Did we do that? Or
We did that, yeah.
We did that. So
We're on
and
to
that's all going to
feedback.
be.
That's all those sweaters behind
Yeah,
you.
they're the sweaters, right?
Sweaters,
And,
yeah.
and we have hoodies too. I understand, right?
We do.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No,
Sweaters
just all
with hoods.
sweaters.
I think it's just sweaters.
All right.
Cardigans.
Where did sweaters come
I love it. That's awesome. Do you know? So you got Volvo the handsome guy and Dean the smart guy. They, so
God
just us dummies
almighty.
up here.
I'm going to die here in a minute. I'm not on anything, by the way, in case you think well, I could be lying about that.
Oh, what did you hit this morning?
A little painkiller.
Crack pipe? Do a little. Oh boy.
So anyways, the store. You know what's nice about the store if you're at the Sportsman Show is that you go and you buy and you don't have to pay any shipping. How about that? Think about that.
Come on now.
No shipping on. There's got to be a specific number.
No. You go to the Sportsman Show.
Oh, the Sportsman
you
Show,
go to
sorry.
the Fishing Canada booth.
I got
you
ya.
buy the goods.
True, you're saving
and there's
a lot.
no shipping.
So
you
you buy
say,
one little hat.
"Nah, nah, 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 nah."
One little hat and you no shipping. Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect. I like
So if you've been holding off because the shipping costs are too high, well, guess what, kids? Volv, you okay, buddy? Volv, you all right? Okay.
that. He's good.
All right. No, he looked like he was in pain there.
Yeah, he probably just keeps seeing these sweaters behind you on the screen, and he's pissed off. Say, move on here. Jesus.
Listener feedback.
Listener feedback comes to us by Big J Gordon. Right? That's
Come on now.
right? Big J Gordon,
I like
via
that.
YouTube. Thank you, Big J Gordon. In response to episode 159, your reindeer is poisoning you.
Oh, wow.
That was an enlightening
episode that
episode,
was.
wasn't it? It was kind of weird in that you start looking afterwards and all these forever chemicals. It's just what doesn't have them in there almost.
But
you
this
know?
one, it hurt. It cut deep because
Yeah.
we've been so reliant on, GORE-Tex and stuff.
You more than anybody because you used to sell the shit
I
too,
sold
right?
millions of pieces of GORE-Tex.
You were poisoning people.
I was poisoning people. I did not realize.
This was awesome. I watched Steven's videos on the subject when they came out, and it really was an eye-opener. I could never understand why I was always soaked at the end of the day with my, quote, breathable, waterproof, unquote, suit. The humidity explanation made it crystal clear what was going on. I'm still depressed because I can't stay dry beyond about 2 or 3 hours, but at least I know there's nothing I can do about it. Thanks for a great interview, fellas. You're welcome.
That was a very good piece.
It was.
Now we're also. I think there's a bit of a disclaimer. If we didn't do it with that episode, we'll do it now. This is not the definitive, right, study. I'm
Right.
sure that there's more to come on this subject, but it's an eye opener, and you really
It sure
need to.
is.
You need to check it out. It's one of those must dos if you're in the outdoors at all, and if you're a believer in waterproof, breathable garments, you have to see this episode if you haven't already done it. But
Because
once
really, Big J Gordon didn't explain the whole thing. He was more of just the waterproof versus not waterproof. Nothing about the poisoning. That's the one you want to get in and listen on to, because I'll tell you what, it was very, as Ange says, just eye-opening. Whoa. Shocking.
Shocking could explain the tench, could it not?
Sure could.
Could it be shocking?
Well, we could shock them up, get a shocker's boat and shock
there
them
you
up.
go. So they're shocking.
Load them up into the boat. It's the tension of fish that has invaded almost every corner of the planet aside from Antarctica and caused notable damage in regions where they became public. The
In case,
answer is
if you're
tench.
wondering what he's talking about, this is Conservation Corner, brought to you by the Invasive Species Centre.
Well, thank
on
you.
now.
Well, no, I just
It's over now. Is that all we have to do now?
No, but I just wanted. I felt compelled to throw that out there.
We can close with that too, though.
We could carry on.
The tench is a medium-sized, deep-bodied fish with small scales, rounded fins, and a single barbel on each side of the mouth. These strike of olive-colored fish, as you can see by the picture, were brought into Canada illegally, as usually this is the way it happens with these invasives, in 1986. They escaped and made their way up the St. Lawrence River. Although not established in the Great Lakes, they have been reported and spotted in the Bay of Quinte in Lake Ontario.
Have you ever seen one?
No, sir, I have not.
How do you know that?
No, I know. I would have known. What I mean, I'm pretty good at if I see something very different. As for instance, I caught a fall fish on Potash Lake.
Where'd it fall from?
It was in the spring, but it made it through to the fall.
Oh, you caught a fish in the
Born-
fall.
It was born in the spring, and it made the fall.
And so,
I looked at that fish, and I said, "What the hell is that?" And took a picture of it, and found out. I thought it was a chub fish, a big chub. And then, not that you know anything about a big chub.
No.
But, thank you.
God, he's all over those drums now, isn't he? We're going to have to take that button away from him now.
Or we're just going to shut up and just do our job properly. And yeah, I took a picture and then looked it up, and I thought, what the hell is this thing? I thought for sure what it was, and it was a fall fish. So I know, I'm 99, I'm not going to say 100%, 99% sure I've never caught one of those.
Does that
Seen
seem
one of those.
odd, though? I mean, if they've been around since 1986...
And I fish
And
the
the
Bay of
Bay of
Quinte
Quinte.
all the time. I mean,
Wouldn't
I
you
fish it all
think
the time.
that-
Yeah,
that's-
but they don't bite, right? So you'd have to. I don't know if maybe they bite, but the baits that we use, I don't think they bite. I think when guys fish for tench over in England, because they do fish for them, they angle for them over there.
Oh, they're
they
big.
use
They're
little
big.
wee tiny maggots and
Yeah,
little
yeah,
wee
yeah.
tiny stuff and all that to get them. So, but if I do see one, what am I going to do, Ange?
Well, I'll tell you right now, before you even see one, you should arm yourself with knowledge, especially on it being able to identify this little critter. Best way to do that is to go to the, first of all, if you see one, let me address that first. Go to the Invading Species hotline, or you can go online at eddmaps.com, eddmaps.com. That's what happens if you do see one or catch one inadvertently. Or
Snag, maybe you could snag it, like hook them accidentally or something like that.
Or, you know,
if they're that big.
How about if you're, oh, wait a minute, is this legal? If you're netting bait.
Yeah, it is legal, yes.
If you're netting bait.
And you have one in your dip.
And in your net, you should probably now start looking at the content of that net.
I think you need to do that. Everybody needs to do that, for sure. Like all the time, for not just this guy, for everything. Or girl. But
interesting.
You know what?
I wonder what the regulations are on that, now that I think of it.
For netting baitfish?
Yeah.
If you see something like that, well, it's the same thing.
Even a commercial, because there's people that hold commercial licenses for catching bait.
Yeah, of course.
I wonder if they're required to look for that. Because, I mean, these guys get millions millions of fish in their tanks.
Fish in one day than we see in a year.
How do you check it all out?
Well, I mean, they go, I mean, the bait fish guys.
Back
in the day, we used to get sticklebacks in there, shiner muds. There's all kinds of different ones. Yeah, the odd little bluegill or something like that. So,
I mean, all kinds of stuff.
They should be regulated.
Well,
I'm sure
I'll tell you
they are.
one thing they should be doing, whether you're a commercial bait guy or not, whether you have a license or not, you should be connected with the Invasive Species Centre website, where all of this information is available. And I'm sure they'll tell you everything you need to know.
eddmaps.com, eddmaps.com. There you
go. In the news.
Come on now.
Brought to you by
J&B, your outdoor superstore. J&B. Now, I first knew these guys before they were even...
Before me?
Before you.
Wow.
And before Rob owned it, because they used to be called J&B Cycle in Timmins.
Another J&B Cycle and Marine.
I don't even know whether they're into cycle anymore, but I know they're big in marine. In fact, they are the largest Mercury Princecraft dealer in the province of Ontario.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll give
they
them a hell
may
yeah.
be the largest Mercury Princecraft dealer in the country of Canada, for all I know.
Oh, boy. I think you're...
and they've been servicing... Yeah. And they've been servicing their customers since 1970. You can buy fully rigged boats. You can buy boats and motors individually. You can buy all kinds of things. They also have a really cool package there. We're not going to talk about that right now, but it's one of the few, if not... It might even be proprietary to J&B Cycle. You can actually lease or rent, I guess it would be called lease. You can lease a boat for your cottage, a pontoon boat, for example, Princecraft pontoon boat. You can lease it for your cottage for the summer. That's it. At the end of the summer, they come, they pick it up, say thank you very much.
Awesome.
We'll see you next year. And then next year...
big Princecraft that we had up at Nordic Point Lodge, that could be at your dock.
At your dock.
Spring to fall.
Full of gas, tied to your dock.
With bumpers included?
Bumpers included.
Jesus.
Everything ready to go. You just turn the key. You know how they say add gas and have fun? Well, in this case, the gas is added already. All you have to do is turn the key and off you go. And you use it all summer long. And then at the end of the summer, you call them up and say, okay, we're ready to get this baby out of here. And J&B Marine send their crew down. They pick the boat up on a beautiful trailer and they take it away, never to be seen again. And at that time, you can renew for next year for a new boat. You might want to change the style of boat. You might want to change the size of boat. You might want to change the color. Hell, maybe you just want to impress the neighbor because the neighbor doesn't know that you're not buying this baby, right? So maybe what you want to do is impress them in that you're turning this stuff over every year because you don't care about money. Money doesn't mean a damn thing to me. I want a blue one next year. You just show up with a blue one and they're going to say, whoa.
I like that.
Hey?
Bobby Dazzler.
Bobby Dazzler.
At his best. I like that. Good idea.
It's all at J&B Cycle. And you can go to jbcycle.com is where their website is located.
Come on now.
Indeed.
And now, they brought you the news, right? See you, Nick.
Hey, buddy. The movie
Have a
over?
good lunch. Yeah, no, he's got lunch. The movie's gone pause.
You should go to the theater and get the newest
big one,
of,
yeah.
the newest release, and then you can come back and tell us all about it.
In the news, Mr. Bowman.
In the news title is Proposed Ban on Deep Water Musky Fishing.
Whoa.
Forward-facing sonar to blame. Brought to you by J&B
go
Cycle
again.
Marine.
Here we go again.
Where is this? Oh, yeah, there it is. So Leech Lake, Minnesota, a very popular lake in Minnesota. Anglers are concerned at the relatively new phenomenon of targeting muskies in pelagic areas of Leech Lake in early summer. So pelagic areas meaning the deeper water, or the basins.
Open
water. Like no structures, nothing. And more people are finding fish in these areas now, although they've been there forever. Many anglers report catch rates of 5 to 15 large muskie per day out in these areas. During this time period, June through mid-July, in addition, anglers report dead muskies floating in these areas and washing ashore. I'm assuming they're trying to blame that on mishandling from
there's
muskie anglers.
more contact with muskie,
More being caught.
more fish
So
being
they're saying
harmed,
they're
more
dying.
fish are going to die. Right?
They mean anglers report. So right off the hop, to me, they could be the anti-forward-facing sonar people making up stories. They don't have to prove that
Well,
there's
we
a
don't
dead
know that.
muskie, right?
We don't
No, I'm
know
saying
that.
they could. I'm saying they could.
Feel free to editorialize, my friend.
That's what I'm doing.
Never
right there,
let
buddy.
a good
You're-
story
they
be
wanna-
ruined by the
They
truth.
want to blame me for something, you better prove it. Take me
Exactly.
over to that muskie. You show me all those dead muskies on the shore there, people. Deep water habitat muskies utilize after spawning make them susceptible to angling pressure in a means that was not historically possible, which is the forward-facing sonar, because a muskie of all fish shows up quite well on forward-facing sonar when it's suspended, especially, right? It's hard not to see if you're in the right area. It's hard not to see that fish because you're big.
Don't get me started on this because you know how I feel about this.
The
right?
proposed regulation from the opening of the Minnesota muskie season through the Saturday following July 4th, angling for muskellunge in 20 feet of water or greater is prohibited.
So first of all,
That's a beauty, that one.
how do you police that?
Yeah.
How do you know that angler is trolling at 20 feet as opposed to 21 feet?
Well, number one, I would probably say there's going to be more casting than trolling.
Well, we
Because
don't
they're
know
using
that.
the
But it doesn't say anything about trolling or casting. It just
I
says
understand
angling.
that. I understand that, but I'm looking at the muskie fraternity. If they are out cherry picking these muskies with forward-facing sonar, they're probably casting versus
All
trolling.
right.
Probably.
I'm going to give you that one. I shouldn't, but I'm going to give you that one because I'm feeling very magnanimous and very generous. So I'm going to give you that
like
one.
that word,
So we're talking
magnanimous.
about folks who are standing on the bow of their boat looking at their screen in big open water.
Casting these
and they're
giant
casting these giant baits.
pounders
All
and
right.
stuff
I'm
like
with you. Good. So let's do that. I just threw that. And now I'm waiting. And now I decided to reel in. How in the hell is anybody, including me, going to know that my twin blade pink lady is coming back at the boat at the 20-foot mark as opposed to the 25-foot mark?
20 feet of water or greater.
Right.
The bottom. That's at least 20 feet of water.
So
or
they're
deeper.
saying-
So they're saying if you're out there casting that big stuff, you're not allowed to be out there
So
casting
the
that big
boat
stuff.
is not going to be in 20 feet of water or more then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the boat is in 20 feet, or they're angling in 20 feet or deeper of water.
Oh, so they can't even be over 25 feet of
Am I
water.
correct, Dean, in saying that? That's the way I'm reading it?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's
Anything
even
over
worse.
20
Oh, of
feet.
course it is.
That's even worse. I'll tell you why it's worse. What if I'm in 25 feet of water with the boat, but I'm casting to shore?
Well, you better get your ass into 10 feet and cast out.
Wow.
That's screwed up.
It's a bunch of...
They can't.
There's a bunch of bullshit.
Thank you, Dean.
They can't regulate everything else in this world, but how are they going to start adding that into it? You know
I
what I
think
mean?
they're hoping that, like, if anyone's going to police themselves, it would probably be the muskie guys. Like, muskie and bass guys normally police themselves, I feel like.
Okay, but
Yes,
can you
give them that for sure.
Explain to me the significance of this 20-foot mark, please.
I'm not a musky guy, but apparently it's just they're more vulnerable because they move from the spawning grounds right out to that range, so they'd be more susceptible to like exhaustion or overexertion or something.
What they do. So let's look at a musky's lifestyle. They go in shallow, they spawn, they do their thing like that. Some of them stay shallow, whatever. But after the spawn, a lot of them take off to the deep to recoup. But in the sense of recoup time, part of the recuperation is eating as well, right? Well, these fish were never targeted before. Everybody's got this shallow, this just shoreline-oriented fishing on their minds for casting. They all got this, let's hit these points. Let's hit that nice, beautiful shoal. Let's hit all the stuff that's up in this structure-based, now there's zero structure. These fish are out there in the open, hitting open, eating open water fish, and that's what they're basically saying. You can't target these fish because they're resting. It's dumb. But it is what it is.
Okay. I make my case once again. If I'm in 10 feet of water and I'm casting to 50 feet of water.
Yeah, a big break there. There's a big fish, a big.
How are you going to police that?
How are they going to police any of it? Honestly, they're going
Just another regulation to put in place that some bureaucrat, I'm sure, came up with this brilliant idea that is going to protect the muskie from extinction, because he's going to force you to find another way to circumvent the system. In the meantime, that bureaucrat just made an extra year of income, because that's how long it's going to take to get the legislation through. I'm sure if it's not already there, probably going to take an entire committee, because of course this would have to go in front of a committee first, which means that they have to probably bring in, I don't know, 12, 14 people to boondoggle for a year, just go and have at it. And once they get her done, they'll write her up and say, there you go, we're in place now.
The one problem I think this has as well is that, so this is just a one lake policy, I think, or maybe a couple lakes.
Well,
but now someone like me knows that these fish out in 20 feet are super easy to catch.
Sure.
And I never knew that, because if they're banning it on one lake, it must be because they're so easy.
Honestly, though, boys, that's been many times shown on YouTube already. It's out there. It's already, and people are just the typical.
Forward-facing sonar has changed, has completely changed the game. Let's be honest about it. But as you were saying that earlier on when you were bringing this up, I hearken back a gazillion years, and I think somebody back a gazillion years ago probably said, hey, whoa, time out. You can't be fishing from a boat. That's illegal.
The fish don't have a chance.
They don't stand a chance. Now you're going to go out in the water and fish for them? Oh, no way. We got to continue. It's a shore thing, man. That's cheating. Oh, no, we got to outlaw boats.
I wonder now. So obviously they are also targeting. See, they shouldn't really be targeting the trolling guys, because the trolling guys have done that forever. Let's be honest. The good anglers, they troll the shores, they troll this,
but now,
they do this, they do that.
But now with forward-facing sonar, they can be more efficient at trolling, right?
Yeah.
Much, as we know.
Yeah.
Much more efficient.
Yeah, I get it for sure. But, I mean...
So what?
Do they just ban the forward-facing sonar off your boat, which is ridiculous? Why would you do that? But it's weird. It's just getting out of hand, obviously, right? And there's going to be opposition to everything in this world. If we like this, they don't like that. If we don't like that, somebody else likes that. It's just the way it is.
Anyways, don't know how that's going to pan out, but for you folks in Minnesota, you might want to look into it. And if it hasn't already been put into place, but it sounds like it has, you might want to look at the cost of implementing and then policing this newfound salvation for muskie. 20 feet in my ass. Anyways, all right. Fan question of the week, brought to you by the good folks at fishfindermounts.com.
Come on now.
There they are, baby.
Oh,
it's a muskie too.
Is that me?
That could be.
That's you, yeah.
It could be you. Could be you or somebody who looks like
handsome
you.
profile there.
Well, of course it is.
I needed a shave that day.
No, you never need anything.
Get some
You're always
sunscreen
you got
in
this
there.
one white hair sticking straight down.
I do that in the morning. I put it.
I
find it.
What do you call it? You curl it. You keep pulling it, and it just, because you got it looks like a pubic hair, just on your
Be a dickhead.
Well, I didn't want to say anything.
It's a perfect anatomy of a dickhead.
I'm just telling it like it is, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Looks like a white pubic
I'm
hair
going to
hanging
leave
on
that
your forehead.
there. I'm going to get one painted. I'm going to get a tattoo, a white pubic hair tattooed on my forehead.
Fan question of the week brought to you by fishfindermounts.com. And who among us that has tried a fishfindermounts.com product could not say that this has got to be the best engineering in the business?
We've heard
In
positive
the marine business.
We've only heard positive about it, and those that haven't used it are wanting to use it, which is even more positive. Guys, I need. Where do you get that stuff? Where I need that stuff. So we've had fishing guides, approach us,
Of course,
and saying, "Guys, this is the bomb. What do we got here?
Dean,
How do we get it?"
Are they at the Toronto Sportsman Show that we're at right now?
I haven't seen them yet. I've been walking
They would have
around.
told us if they were coming, I think, right?
Wow.
We're pretty good relationship with the guys.
Yeah, they should be there, shouldn't they?
You'd think so. Maybe Lawrence is going to be there, maybe with a little setup or something like that. We'll find out. He might be here
All right,
somewhere.
we'll check it out. That's Matt Dugan calling us, by the way.
Matt Dugan. Good Irish boy there, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Dugan.
Question
Question is, can you
yes.
provide some insights/comments on fish handling for healthy releasing?
Who asked this question? By the way?
Some fish finder guy loves fish finder mounts. Trevor Spitz or Trevor Spitzy, but I'm going to say Spitz. Spitse
Via email.
via the email.
So I do have a disclaimer. This is from email, so it technically does not qualify. We had a lack of quality YouTube comments.
Okay, so
Okay.
this is not a winning or qualify to even be in the running.
It doesn't meet
See, you
our,
didn't. You
our
guys shouldn't have
standards.
said anything. You just should have read it that way.
Hey,
now
Dean,
Trevor's going to come.
Not to get off topic, but and before we get to Trevor's question, something that I checked out or noticed, or anyways, that I've been meaning to talk to you about, that I would like to maybe implement a change to, if at all possible, is that when somebody submits and qualifies to be the question of the week, should they not be required also to be watching the episode? And here's why I'm saying that.
So they should reach out to us and say, "Hey, I heard myself."
Or they can take a snapshot, right? I'm assuming somewhere on the screen during this thing, Trevor's name and or whatever question is going to be somewhere here, somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that. And all you do is take a snapshot of that and send it to you saying, "Hey, I'm Trevor. You guys read my question, and here's the snapshot. Thank you very much for the 100 buckaroos available on fishingcanada.com."
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like that because everybody's doing that. And there's a reason they're doing it. And there's probably a reason why we're not doing it because we're idiots. I'm always assuming that when we're not doing something, we're idiots. And everybody else is brilliant.
Yeah.
So can we make that change?
Yeah, we'll do
Because that kind of makes sure that, people are connected with they're committed to winning.
Yeah.
They're not just throwing questions out there and then going on vacation.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree.
Right?
And we have actually had people have beaten me to, like, I usually reach out to them after like a day.
Right.
Most people beat me to it.
Oh.
So we do have a very engaged audience.
Oh, very good.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
But this might be just one more connection that we have with them.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
Could you throw in an extra T-shirt if they beat Dean? Beat Dean.
Beat Dean.
If you
Beat
beat Dean, you
Dean.
actually get an extra. Then you get free shipping and whatever. There
Well, you
go.
get it already.
Yeah, that's $100 you do
Beat
already. So
Dean,
beat
beat
Dean. You have to
Dean.
throw a Fishing Canada
I
hat in
like,
there.
I
if
like
you beat
beating
him.
Dean.
Yes.
I like beating Dean. Something about beating Dean that really.
I think it's
turns
very
my
catching,
crank.
right? It's very
Yeah.
ear catching.
I'd like to beat Dean.
Yes.
If truth were known. I mean,
With a wet pike, with a
yeah,
dead pike.
maybe a carp, maybe a gar pike.
Oh,
gar pike.
that's nasty.
A dampish gar pike. Probably
yeah,
work.
Yeah, their scales are pretty.
We'll have to
that'd be
beat
good stuff.
Dean. I like that. We'll have to see. We have to work on that, Dean. See,
All right.
see we. see
We'll
we
make a
can-
T-shirt.
Yeah, beat Dean with a wet gar pike. I love it. All right, Trevor says.
Excuse me.
No, he does not say that.
Yeah, he's done that once.
all right.
Bet you have once
All
he's
right.
coughed.
Carry on. What does Trevor say?
Can you provide some insights/comments on fish handling for healthy releasing and safety for the angler? That's a big one, too, that people don't realize. This could be a long discussion based on the type of fish, but just general comments would be good. For example, catching and releasing a muskie. Are there general rules to keep the fish healthy and alive? Question mark.
So, first of all, most of us, the odd exception, most of us are not scientists, and we are certainly not medical practitioners when it comes to fish. And most of us, although we're well-intentioned, we don't have the definitive answer on what is safe practice and what's not safe practice when it comes to handling fish. So a lot of this is common sense. We've for years been talking about staying away from the gill area of a fish. Avoid making contact with gills. And that's not because we have a scientifically sound reason for it. We're just coming up with the conclusion that if you reach into somebody's lungs and handle their lungs, chances are they're not going to fare well. And that's what gills are for a fish. That's the lung area. So for sure, you want to avoid that. For years, we've been talking about the coating that each fish has to various degrees, a slime coat we call it, because we don't know what it is, other than it's designed to protect them from bacteria, we believe. Once again, we're not medical practitioners.
Makes sense.
But it's common sense. Those are the two most common sense things when it comes to releasing fish. Do not muck around with their gills, and try and not remove any of the slime coat that the fish comes with when you catch it. Those are two basic areas to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. And then there's about 1,000 other things that you have to also do's and don'ts that you have to be aware of.
Yeah, true. Right? I think in the musky sense, I mean, the quote normal procedure is to have a gigantic net, like a big kahuna fraybill or whatever model you want. They're massive. They drop about 5 feet in depth too in the basket. And you basically scoop the fish up, leave them in the water, pull the hooks out, cut the hooks out if they're in deep, which is another thing for fish care on muskies is a whole science in itself. And then you let the fish recoup as much as possible in there. If you want to measure the fish, then you quickly bring the fish into the boat, have the board already ready, lay it on the board, quick picture, and drop it back on the water. Musky guys are very good, guys and girls. Musky anglers are very good at treating their fish the way they should be treated, but they're equipped for it, right? When you catch one fluky, then
that's when it's trouble.
That's when it's trouble, because all of a sudden you're bass fishing, and it happens all the time. It happens to us every season. You catch a great big 43, 44, 46-inch muskie. What do? Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind. It's in season. I wouldn't mind getting a picture of it. You got a whole shit show going on sometimes, right? So you just got to be careful. It'd be common sense, as Ange said earlier. Bass, one thing I don't like about the bass angling fraternity, Ange, and I've said this before, is that it's the craning them into the boat. Crane them in the boat and let them drop in the bottom of the boat and on the carpet and on the floor and all that. Although now, I mean, like a Prince Craft's got vinyl, probably a little better for it. The carpet, I think, is worse. But I just don't know if that's good for a fish or not. It doesn't seem to be.
I can tell you it's not.
I just don't. I don't do it.
I'm not a
ever.
scientist, right?
I fun fish for bass all the time. And if they're big, I put a rubber net under them. And if they're not, then if I crane them in, I grab my line and grab the fish. He does not touch the deck of the boat. So that's one thing. I mean, trout anglers, they're very good. Like brown trout, brook trout anglers with that little net, the fly fishermen especially, they treat their fish like perfectly. Yeah. You just got to use common sense. Let's keep the fish in the water as much as you can. Out of the water, very little. Yeah. That's all. And I do the slime coat that they have, mucus coat, I think it is, or mucus membrane. Yeah. It does. I mean, it's been proven. You see it sometimes when it gets scraped off a fish. There's a little spot where infection actually hits it. So it does happen that it seems to stop infection if there is an infection in there. So, common sense. Do what that guy right there with the hair sticking out of his head there is doing. He's releasing that fish nicely by the tail, holding it there. Hey, little muskie, bye-bye. Have fun. Have a good day. Have a nice life.
Hopefully
I wonder if he caught that in 20 feet of water or more.
It looks like more than 20 feet of water.
I know that. I know where the guy caught that fish. It wasn't 20 feet, but it's probably close.
the best idea is to have as little time with the fish out of the water as you possibly can.
That's it.
Yeah, everybody wants that hero shot now. That seems to be the big thing. That's a whole other discussion for a whole other day, but little contact as possible. There are some jurisdictions that are now talking about maybe looking at angling without hooks. So that, well, I know we laugh, but it may come to that in some cases, and there you get the thrill of the fight, the hunt, whatever you want to call it. It's man against fish, and you figure it out, and you finally get that fish that you've been hunting for God knows how long. You get them on the line, you do your thing with them, you get that thrill, and then the fish just swims away. With no damage at all because there's no hooks on the bait. So I'm not suggesting we go there quite yet, but it's another viable way to continue the sport, right? Then it becomes a real sport at that point, in my opinion, right?
What if I want to eat them?
Well, then you go to a predetermined body of water.
Grocery store,
or you go to a grocery store.
There you go.
You know? I mean, using that... Listen, we're going to piss people off no matter what viewpoint we have here on this one.
Of course.
Because, technically you should maybe consume fish from the market only. But then you read the reports on the market fish, the store fish, they're all illegally packaged and shit. So who knows?
You ain't getting what you're paying for.
You ain't get what you pay for. The only time you know what you're eating is when you caught it.
That's right.
So
I don't. Pickerel. Give me a nice little pickerel, Ange.
Yeah. I haven't had one. I might have that tonight. I got one in the freezer.
You don't know what it is, though.
No, I know what this is. It's
it had skin on it?
There you go, Trevor. Hopefully we answered your question. That was the fan question of the week, brought to you by fishfindermounts.com.
Come on now.
If you don't have at least one of their products on your boat and you think that you're into high-tech fishing, then chances are real good that you're fooling yourself.
Ooh.
How's that? Go to fishfindermounts.com and check out all of the hardware that they have available for you and your friends this summer. Main segment of the show brought to you by Sail, who are also the outdoor superstore. I guess you could call them the original outdoor superstore, maybe.
They're the sponsor of this Sportsman Show.
Sponsor of this event.
Their logos are everywhere here.
Yeah. I didn't, Dean, did you know
big.
that?
I did. Their logos are all over the place.
Are they? Holy mackerel.
Big.
All good things outdoors start at some point at a Sail store, whether it's fishing, hunting, hiking, anything outdoors. Clothing, footwear, tackle, rods, reels.
You name it.
You name it, they got it.
Apparently they have a booth here, too. I haven't seen it yet.
And they have a booth here.
So, which
For
they
sure.
didn't. They didn't last year. I don't
Yes,
think,
they
right?
did.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they
okay.
did. You
Good.
stand to be erected, my friend.
Oh, I'm always erected. No doubt about it.
Because Dean and I were working that booth while you were kibitzing with your peeps.
Kibitzing.
Yeah.
Is it
You do a
kibitzing
lot
or is
of
it kibitzing?
Kibitzing would do if you're from France.
That's an old Dean. Have you
If
ever
you're
heard
from
that word
France.
before?
No, never.
See, that's an old school word. That's why I asked
Kibitzing.
Dean, because kibitzing, it's like that's got to be one of the ones that we heard from our dads, but I don't think it's going off through our dads.
No, kibitz.
My dad, me being a dad, I haven't said that to my kids ever.
They are, if you go to sail.ca, their online presence, you can get all kinds of goodies on sale. In fact, they have up to 60% off right now as we speak if you go to sail.ca for their sale.
Get on their mailing
Hey,
list. It's a good thing. A good thing is getting on their mailing list because then they show you every week what the new sales are. Every week comes up. Hey, boots are on sale this week. Hey, you want hiking gear? It's on sale this week. You know what I mean? So.
I don't know are they selling stuff here, Dean? You know, they're selling stuff at this show? Maybe.
Well, you were at the booth last year.
Yeah, we were, but we were doing business.
Well, you got to look around. It's just
We
like
were
looking
doing
up at the
business.
signs. Dean
Unlike
says there's 100
you-
signs here. and
Unlike you, we
you
have
look
to-
at your toes all
we have
day
to
long.
earn
Right.
our keep.
Right. Is there a sale sign up, guys? I don't know where.
We have to earn
Come on.
our keep. Some of us have to go out
What
and
was
sell
at that
stuff.
booth? What were you selling at that booth?
I was selling
Last
you.
year. Yeah, you're
I was
not gonna-
trying to sell
How'd you
you.
make out with that? That's pretty much a lost cause. But anything else? Oh, God.
Anyways, yes, I think they are selling here at the show. I was just kidding, of course. What else? So the main story is about us, Peter. You, me, the 40 years.
Oh, my God.
All things fishing in
Finally,
Canada.
we got a story about us. We haven't.
I think we already blew
time,
we blew our budget on that one at the beginning of the show, I believe.
Well,
Other than to remind folks, if you are not a regular viewer of the Fish in Canada show, that in 2026, January of 2026, the 40th edition of the series will be premiering.
40th edition. Wow.
40th edition of the series. There's
Come
not
on now.
many series that can say
No,
that.
you're absolutely right.
Not many.
You're
How we've
absolutely-
managed is beyond me. I have absolutely no idea.
Well, yeah. That's. I mean, I'm sure that's a whole podcast in itself.
Many have come and gone.
Yeah.
Many have come and gone as it is normal in the production world, right? Most productions have a cycle. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And those cycles are designed right at the beginning, right in concept. Like most TV series,
right.
they say, okay, this is a 5-year series. And they lay out the whole 5 years and say, here's where we're starting and here's where we're going to take it. And then on that, the 5th year, we're going to sign off and say sayonara. We're going to move on to our next project. That's normal.
Yep.
Of course, because we had no direction to start with, we didn't know where we were going, we didn't know where we came from, and we sure as hell didn't know how we were going to get to wherever it is we were going. We just, it was like perpetual.
Like a free for all.
It was a free-for-all, like it is now, like this conversation
It's
is.
absolutely perfect explanation right here. Right here.
So
Yeah.
here we are.
How do these guys? Let's say a Reacher. It's in its 3rd season right now.
Yeah, so they all base it on revenue, right?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Are they making more? Obviously, they're making money, or they wouldn't keep doing this, right?
They base it on revenue. So a lot of times you'll see series will go on for 2 years, 3 years, and then they'll go dark
Yes.
for 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, there's
the next
season 4 coming
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
All based on finance.
Because it's expensive to do, right?
And
To build
finance,
this
and
stuff.
also being able to sign the principal talent back on.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, wanting to get rid of the principal talent and replace it with something else because there's been some argument. Whatever the case may be, something ain't right. When you see it stop after 2 or 3 seasons and then come back a year later, something went wrong, usually
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah. Okay.
But
okay.
the reason that you have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, because otherwise you can't forecast a budget.
Right.
How the hell do you forecast a budget, right? So you have to
Something
have,
you guys never did in the show, did you? Probably.
I didn't even know how to spell budget.
Right. It is kind of a weird spelling, that word.
It
I have
is.
to
Got
say.
that D and
Yeah,
the G.
DG,
Like, why would you?
is there a D
Yeah.
in there? Budget. The D
jit.
has to be in there, but it's not
Well, maybe
legit.
GIT it should
Yeah,
be. You know,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it is GIT for all I know.
Have you watched the 3rd season of Reacher yet? Have you been watching
No.
that? You know that,
Of course.
you know how big Reacher is?
Yes. There's a bigger guy
He's
who
giant.
kicks the shit out of him,
He
I
is
hear.
friggin' towers above Reacher. He's
So-
that big.
So you see now, there's a case where they had to go out and find somebody bigger than
Oh,
him,
yeah. This
right?
guy's
That could
so
act.
freaking big.
That could act.
Well, he's not the best actor in there. Let's just say that.
Like
his,
Arnold.
his lines are not too extensive. Let's
I'll
just
be
say.
back.
I'll give one little thing away in this one. Reacher's doing a contest with him because he's a big guy. They got into an arm wrestling sort of contest, and Reacher says he's grabbing his arm. He says, "Okay, now I can pull your arm down. I can pull your arm. I know I can pull your arm down." And he says like that, and then he lets his hand go, and the guy hits himself in the friggin' head, just about knocks himself out. So good.
Anyways, where were we? Oh, yeah. How we got
40
here.
years. 40 years.
40 years. 40. This was 40 years. This moment, right now, that we're speaking to you, this moment was made 40 years ago. Was designed 40 years ago, apparently.
40 years from now, Ange and I won't be around, but your kids can talk about it.
Not be around next week, for God's sake. Anyways, a lot of fond memories, as you can imagine. We've had the pleasure of working with some incredible people throughout our careers. A lot of great co-hosts have come and gone, but the constants are right here. We've managed to hang in there for almost 4 decades now. So
Yeah.
good, bad, or
Damn
indifferent,
good.
we're still here.
Yeah, man. So people can just, what is it, more of a memory, going down memory lane when they, for us to get in the booth or the interview with them, let's say, or the booth. Explain that a little better for them here.
What we're doing here is just celebrating the fact that we got 40 years behind us. And I would like people to stop in and share. We've got great stories about the 40 years. We've got a million stories.
Oh my God!
Right?
I started writing them down, but it's just it's endless to try and
we'd like to share those with you. But probably more importantly, we'd like to hear your stories about your connection with the Fishing Canada brand, because everybody's got a different story. Everybody connected in a different way. Everybody gets different things out of Fishing Canada. We get different things out of Fishing Canada. So we want to kind of share those things with you live at the Toronto show, and our camera people will be running around with cameras and mics and trying to capture those moments so that we can put them on this series, the 40th anniversary series, which will be airing in January, starts January of 2026. And each episode will have some of those moments that we capture between the confessional booth. You know, a lot of people don't like to talk in front of other people. Well, we've designed it so that you can go into a little area, draw the curtain, and spill your guts out to the camera. Good, bad, or indifferent. Some of you might have some negative things that you don't want to say in front of us, but you can certainly say it on the camera behind the curtain, right?
Yeah. If they have a question on an episode, they could do that too. They say, hey guys, I remember that time and you guys, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What actually happened, or how did that happen? They could do anything like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be the best. Could you imagine, because a lot of stuff we've forgotten.
Oh,
but could you imagine by talking to folks
just to
here
trigger
at the
our
show,
memories.
with all of a sudden, boom, I forgot all about that moment, right?
Great, yeah.
So I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Should be great. Should be wonderful. Of course, we'll be doing autograph sessions. We also have a place called Ange and Pete's Workshop, which is just across from our booth, kitty corner. We're going to have guests there. We're going to ask them questions. These are people in the industry, whether they're manufacturers, agents, guides, lodge owners,
pro
anglers, tournament people, like whatever, you name it. We're going to sit them down in front of you, and we're going to ask them questions that we would like to know about them. So I think
and you can ask the odd question too. The audience can get involved in there for sure. So.
But it's called a workshop for that reason. The audience might want to ask us and or the guests something in particular about the way that a certain bait works, for example.
Exactly.
And how and when to use that bait. Well, the workshop area is the place for that. And the Fishing Canada booth area will be the place to talk about the celebration of this wonderful brand called Fishing Canada. And we're here all week. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be an absolute riot.
Yeah.
I think I'm just about done.
You figure?
Unless there's more to it.
I have one announcement.
We've got a lot of work
You
to
have
do.
something to talk about, Dean?
Yeah, today we're launching, we've been kind of teasing it the last couple episodes, but J&B and Mercury are giving away the Avatar, the 7.5 Avatar. And we actually have one here in our booth at the Sportsman Show, so you can come by and take a look. And enter your name in the ballot there to win that.
So how does that one work, Dean? Same as the others?
It's the same as the others, so you can enter every day to kind of increase your odds. You can listen to this show for a bonus code, which I think you have in front of you, Ange, for today.
Do. I wasn't going to give it to him, but now that you mention it,
yeah,
it's probably a good time right now. We interrupt this important message from Dean to bring you the much anticipated bonus code for the latest Fishing Canada giveaway. And this one is, of course, the 7.5 Mercury Avatar electric motor that you see here at this booth.
Cool motor, man. Cool.
The code this week, ironically, is Sportsman. Sportsman, Sportsman. Just enter that, type it into the bonus code section of the contest, and you, my friends, and you, my friends, and you, my friends, will receive 10 free entries to all of our contests, not just this one, but 10 free entries to all of the contests. All you have to do is go to fishingcanada.com, enter in the contest, put Sportsman in the bonus code area, and there you go, 10 freebies. If you haven't entered yet, what a perfect time. We just reminded you. For example, if you're here live at Toronto Sportsman Show, I believe you can enter right here by downloading the QR code.
That's
or
right,
I'm
it's very
sure
easy.
somehow we can figure out how you can enter right now and also receive your 10 free entries as well.
Come on now.
Be a nice little prize, eh? You'd be
Oh
one of the
my
only
God.
people around on the
Oh
lake.
my
You'd be cruising around in that thing. You'd be quiet, dead quiet. Ooh.
I'm waiting for a day where they bring some serious horsepower to that category.
Well, they do it in cars.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
because
fastest
it's
cars out there.
instant. On off is instant.
Oh my
That's
God.
what I love about it.
Remember
Right?
that one big bass boat was doing it years ago? They tried, but I don't
They
think
fell off the
Yeah.
face of the earth.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Great concept.
Yeah,
But
greasy looking boat too.
yeah. Anyways, head on over to fishingcanada.com, and while you're listening to this podcast, if you're not at the Toronto show, and check out the bonus code area, put it in. It's Sportsman, and you'll be signed up for all the latest Fishing Canada giveaways. Now back to the episode.
Come on now.
And we're back.
And we're back. How was that, Dean? Did we
was
do
great.
good? Did we
That
do
was
good,
good,
Dean?
yeah.
Sometimes we need, to be reaffirmed that we're doing things.
I do that with the buttons. I thought that's what the buttons were for.
Oh, the buttons are for that.
They're for you guys.
Okay, but I gotcha.
We do enjoy them.
That's it, folks. We got to go talk to you people here at the Toronto Sportsman Show. So we're going to sign off. Want to thank everybody for joining us on behalf of the entire crew who are all here, by the way. Vova, Nick, Dean, Mr.
Steve.
Bowman,
Steve
Nedzwicki is here. Everybody
Forget
is
our
here.
Stevie.
Come on now.
He's Peter Bowman. I'm Angelo Viola. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon. This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio has been brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. J&B Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. And Sail, the ultimate destination for your outdoor adventures.